Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Cool Colas here to bring you the hustler's perspective. Hope everybody is having a good day today. Hope you guys are had a chance to enjoy this summer weather. For pretty much everybody in every state, I'm pretty sure it's pretty warm. But anyways, I wanted to get into the topic a bit here today. Today I want to tell you about 6 different businesses that you can start that even children can do. Yes, I said it, that even children could do. So here's my theory on everything. I want to kind of put you into the mindset as to why I make that statement and why that statement is something that could actually be factual. First things first, I know a lot of you are probably hearing this video and you all are probably thinking, why in the heck would Cool Colas even say that a child could start a business? Especially seeing as most of these adults, or myself as an adult, that hasn't even started a business. So here's my theory on it. With children, you have to be able to look at the big picture for their life. So children are going to enter a world where they have to deal with the education system, where they're going to have to deal with learning about things from their environment and their parents, and then other figures and other people who they're around. So that's the first thing to kind of consider here. And what you want to prepare them for is the fact that the education system is only going to show them so much. And then by the time that if you have children now, or if you plan to have children in the future, you have to bank on the fact that the education system is going to be much worse than it even is now. Once those kids are growing up and they're going to get into that higher education system, because higher education is kind of weird today because it's not really showing you the things that you should actually be learning. Here's kind of my theory. You need to be able to have a safeguarded defense for your children, and that safeguard would be a business. So basically things for them to back up on. So let's say that they get in a situation where they get into college, well, or more so out of college. They graduate, they get their degree, and then they're ready to get into the job world, and they're ready to get out there and start working and everything. Let's say that they have a hard time finding a job, and then let's say that your belief, and this is not my belief personally, but everybody's entitled to their opinion and how they raise their kids and what they do. But let's say that your belief is, I don't want my kids to be lazy. I don't want my kids to be bums. So I don't want my kids living with me, because that could, but some of you guys, that is a realistic situation as to what you've been through, or what has happened to you, and what your parents have told you. So let's say that's your mindset is like, you get out of college, your parents tell you, hey, you got to get out immediately, and then you don't have a backup, you don't have anywhere to go, and then let's say you just don't have friends for whatever reason who are like willing to kind of like go in with you, whether it's your fault or theirs or whatever. So let's say that you need a backup. So why not have a business, or learn, or have your child learn how to create a business so that it is kind of a placeholder, or at least like something for your child who's going to be older at some point to own, that's going to allow them to be able to make money and be able to pay their bills, and it's going to help them to be able to live. So why not be able to put them in a position where they're able to have that for themselves, so that they can be able to make money if their career and everything is not taken off, because for whatever reason the degree doesn't have the power that it should have. So that's one thing that you should kind of like consider, is the fact that they need something that's going to be a defense against not being able to get a job after being in the education system. The other thing too is, and this is something that I believe, some people may disagree, but I believe in this philosophy wholeheartedly. I believe that a child, in their ability to learn, give or take, if they have certain deficiencies or things like that that hinder them from doing that, can learn. It's kind of like they can learn what you allow them to learn. In other words, if you're not really teaching your kids like how to read, or they're going to struggle when they get to school, and they're in like their English class. If you don't teach them how to do math kind of like on the side as well too, they're not going to be good with math. So in other words, take that same philosophy of, oh, they need to be good at math and reading and science and history and whatever. Take that same knowledge and apply that to business. So and that's how America runs. If you think about it, a lot of people, they don't know how to run a business. They don't know about owning things. They think they have a certain perception about owning things and owning a business that is kind of skewed in believing that all these like powerful figures are the only ones who like own businesses. But in actuality, you can actually own a business and be a younger person. So in other words, that's not really instilled in the minds of Americans, and that's why a lot of like or younger adults are just now getting on this like entrepreneurial train, because their parents weren't putting them on that train because they didn't have that mind instilled in them. So not to ramble here, but I'm just getting to the point that children need to be taught that they have the ability to start a business, and showing them how to, because literally it's actually a lot easier than filling out a job application. Filling out a job application can be kind of strenuous because you're spending a lot of time putting your resume out, and then putting the same information that's in your resume in the box that says fill in your previous employment and tell me like why you left and this and that, and they ask you about your race, and then they ask you about your if you have disabilities, if you're in the military, and so on and so forth. So anyways, like being able to teach them that they have the ability to be businessmen and women for themselves at that point. I'm not even gonna say one day. At that point is something that's going to be very crucial and beneficial to them in the long run, and that's something that you want to think about. I mean, again, and I made this statement before in previous videos. You cannot be a parent and expect your kid to possibly grow up with this I guess perfect image of, oh, they're going to go to school, then everything's going to work out because they worked hard enough and they're going to get a job, because there's going to be this endless cycle of them being upset because they haven't gotten a job, but they worked hard, and you don't know what to tell them. A parent who's not helping their kid to establish some type of backup in case something happens to them in the long run is selfish. I don't care how you put it. It's selfish because if you do know what to do with your money and you try to do certain things with your money, then what you can do is you can save up and you can invest in your kids and in things that actually are worth investing in, and then eventually they are going to be able to like have something as a backup, and something that's going to help them in their future, instead of struggling and just kind of filing around and drinking through a fire hose trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives and how they're going to figure out getting into this financial mess that they're in after they have loans and debt and things like that, if you get in that situation, because some people of course get scholarships. But anyways, so my point, again, not to ramble, is I think that parents should be trying to establish, first of all, in the mindset of kids, that they're able to be a business owner. And then they should help them and assist them in giving them the practice to be a business owner. So like doing like some activities that allow them to own their own business, and then understand about how money works and how to deal with their finances and things like that. And even if you're a parent who doesn't understand that stuff, take the time to learn yourself, so that it's a learning experience for the both of you. And at that point, because a child's impressionable, they're looking to learn about that same stuff more than they are to question you. So of course, when they're like really young, now mind you, they'll ask questions, but they're not questioning you, which is different. They'll ask questions because they want to know, and they're curious, versus they're older and they've gotten smarter, and because they think they're smart, they can kind of like question your authority. You would just want to get to the point where you're able to instill these values into them, just like you would instill, like if you're religious, you instill in them they must pray. If you're all about the education system, you instill in them that they must do their homework before they can do anything. Or you try to instill in them, if they're like athletic, or you've got to practice in basketball or football or whatever they're good at, you got to instill in them to be a business owner, to have a backup in case like the world knocks you down. And the world will knock you down. I'm telling you, I've been knocked very hard, and I'm sure a lot of other people have. And one thing that I will tell you right now, your kids will be knocked down, but the best thing that you can do for them is give them something, and a way to react where they can kind of save themselves. So that's another thing. Establishing that mindset early on is so important. I can't tell you how important that is, and it's important. Not only is it important for you, but it is certainly important for them, because then that mindset that they have, they're learning that young, so they're gonna grow with more knowledge at some point on a business level, and eventually when they have kids, they're gonna be able to teach them the same thing. Because ultimately, as a parent, your goal should be to make sure that your kids are going to be better and more successful than you. Bottom line, whether that success is them, having a lot of money, whether that success is for them to just have the freedom to make money, whatever it is. I mean, everybody's definition of success is different. I think it's defined by an idea of excitement more than it is, financial stability, because that can come and go like that. So my point is that, like, for success, you want to make sure that you're setting your kids up for that, and so that they are doing better than you continuously, since of course success is a continuous process, being successful and maintaining that level of success. But anyways, also having that ability to teach your kids about business teaches them life lessons, but life lessons about being responsible early on, and allowing them to be accountable, and allow them to be financially accountable. And then they're not spending money on like silly things. Like, you're not teaching your kids, oh, so like go out and you got to have this nice car, you got to have this nice home for your family, and you got to do these things, you got to buy these clothes so that you can look good in front of person A, B, C, and D. Like, mind you, I mean, those some of those things are more important than others. Some of those things don't matter at all. But you got to live, so I mean, you got to have a house. But the expensive car thing and looking good in front of people, whatever. I mean, that's not really important. But my point is that those certain things like that have been emphasized, that a lot of parents have actually emphasized to, their children, like, going forward. And they have this idea that all those things establish wealth, like I said. And at the end of the day, they don't really establish wealth. What they should be teaching them is to be responsible from a business standpoint, so that this whole idea of your business failing in 3 to 5 years changes, because they know early on now, like, what it will take in order to start a business. And they'll be able to have their bumps and bruises early on, so that there's things that they won't make mistakes on as they get older, because they've learned from them as a young guy or a young girl. So those are just some things to think about, I guess, with the like the business owning and that for kids. But this is the last point I kind of want to make, and then I'll get into some of the ways that I kind of came up with that I feel as though are going to be good ways for children to start a business. Another thing is, you need to teach them the importance of owning something. And what I mean by that is, you need to be able to teach them that owning, like, how to like own a business, but to ultimately, I guess, give them a piece of what it's like to have freedom. Because essentially, when you're in the education system, you're not really free. You are being trained to be robot number 1,670, whatever. So like there's a bunch of robots in the education system, and they all have a number, and they're all being taught the same way. They're all being zapped to creativity. They're all being told, in the real world, this, that, and that happens. You go to college, you get a degree, you can't find a job, you get stifled with loans while trying to find a job. It's that same process. And I guess, like, what happens is that there's no freedom in all of that. Education is power, but miseducation is the total opposite. It leads you astray, and it makes you discouraged as well too, so that you actually have to start over. Now, and what I mean by start over is, like, you have to reevaluate what your definition of education is, and then you have to actually become educated. And you can only do that by reading and researching and experiencing more than anything. So I think that, when it comes down to it, you're going to have to teach your children early on what it is like, or show them what it is like to own a piece of freedom. Owning something is the start of that freedom. So you're not dependent on certain things. You're not dependent on your parents. You're not dependent on the government. You're not dependent on like some friends to help you out. You're not dependent on some jobs or some person, to give you some type of offer and treat you like crap once you get there because you're under them. Like you were only dependent at that point on yourself, and you're only relying on yourself, and you have something that you can grow on, you can build on. That's you, that you made. And I think that teaching kids that is very important early on. Teaching them how to be robots, they're going to be just like everybody else. So it's kind of backwards when you tell somebody to be unique and be their own person, but then they're like everybody else, not learning how to own something. And mind you, if the 9 to 5 thing is your style, working 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3, whatever, if that's your style and that's what you want to do for the rest of your life and it makes you happy, then you've achieved success. More power to you. But the thing about it is that, like, if you don't teach someone to own something, then they're not going to know true freedom. That's just the bottom line. They're not going to know true freedom if they don't know that they have the ability to make their own opportunities. That's just the bottom line. Anyways, so I want to kind of get into the 6 businesses that I feel that children could do that are going to be lucrative for them and going to teach them a lot of different lessons, and I'll go into those lessons as well too. And when I say lucrative, it doesn't just mean financially, but it means mentally. Like their mental wealth is going to be great, or it's going to be enhanced, or they're going to be at a better starting point because of what they're being taught. So here is the first one. So a lemonade stand. So you see all the time on like, it's kind of like a generic thing in commercials, and then like just, I guess, media and things like that. You see all the time little kids, and they're at lemonade stands. Heck, you can see in your neighborhood little kids who are at, like, these wooden stands, and they have cups, and they have like the lemonade pitchers, and then they have like a sign or whatever that says, oh, lemonade for like 50 cents. Like that image is probably just instilled in everyone's head, and they don't really like think too much of it, because people don't really think too much of it, because it's like, oh, that's just, it's kind of cute. They're doing a lemonade stand for the summer, and that's it. But really, that's actually the start of them being an entrepreneur. And it's the start because it basically shows some of the things that you actually had to buy. So like certain startup costs, but it also shows the profits that you're making from doing it. So for example, like your investments / losses, if you're talking taxes, would be pitchers, cups, wood, and probably like the tools to build the actual stand so that it actually stands, and things like that. And then maybe like you have lemons, of course, because you have to squeeze the lemons and sugar. So those are your startup costs. They're like generally pretty low. It's a good summer gig. And then like maybe you charge, I don't know, I'm just giving you an example, maybe like $1 or something like that per glass of lemonade, or $2 per glass of lemonade. Then all of your neighborhood friends and family and associates or whatever, they come and they give you money. They give the kids money, and then like they get some of the lemonade. So that's kind of like the start of an entrepreneurial thing that kids can do to kind of teach them how things work. So maybe like, that's something that a parent and a child can do together. But what I mean by that is maybe a parent can say, hey, I'll pay for your losses, and then like the kids are going to keep the profits. Maybe, to start from a beginner level, just like that. And then, just kind of like go over a spreadsheet with them. Like, this is just an idea that I came up with, something that you can do. Make a spreadsheet and then show them the things that they paid for, show them the prices of how much, they paid to do it. And then show them, the profits that they made. So basically, like counting all like the quarters or dollars or whatever it is that they got in the little cup, and then like count how much they actually profited from, and then kind of like just go from there. So basically, it allows the parent and the child to actually interact and be more, I guess, like entrepreneurial in that way. And it's funny because like I even said this on my blog, but there was a commercial that was done recently, and it was a T-Mobile commercial. And in the commercial, there was a guy, and he was walking by, and he saw this girl, and she was like at a lemonade stand, or she had her own, and he was thinking about I think he was walking his dog or something, but he was thinking about purchasing like a glass of lemonade, and then the little girl started reading off to him all these taxes that came and fees that came with like buying the glass of lemonade, and he was appalled because he was like, man, like this is just some lemonade. Like, why are you tripping talking about, oh well, there's all these fees, because he feels like it shouldn't be like that. But what's funny to me is like that. I mean, although I do think that it was a bit much how she was going about it. I mean, you got to think about it. And these are two things that are firm in business. One, that's her business. That's what she decided to do. You shouldn't be arguing her model. If you don't want to buy it, then you just don't buy it. You know, if you don't want to buy into the product, just don't buy it. And the second thing that I would say is, you know, and I don't want to dig too deep because, of course, this is a very abstract topic here, and this is an abstract thought process for me to even say this. But who's to say that that man would not have done the same thing had it been a different service that he was doing that said, oh yeah, you have fees? Like, what if he had like a cable service and they said, oh, you're going to get all these channels, but then it's going to include the installation fee, and then it's going to include a monthly fee for keeping it on and things like that. So, I mean, again, like you just, I guess like he wasn't really thinking like, oh, this is just a kid and the silly little kid is going to put all these fees onto a glass of lemonade. But I mean, again, like think about it like that. Like you would pay fees and things like that if it was something that you truly like really wanted, but really it's no different business wise what like that cable company would be doing to you as to what the little girl was doing to you with her glass of lemonade. And on top of that too, I'd even argue any movie theater that you go to, lemonade probably will be like $7-8. So really she's not really tripping. But I bet you if that same person probably, and again, everybody's different. Me personally, I don't buy anything from the movie theaters. Some people do, I just don't. My thing is, if he's that type of person who would, like, you know, who just wants to go to the movies and has something to drink or whatever, he would probably pay that $7 for that lemonade if he was thirsty, he really wanted, and he was at the movie theaters for convenience, you know, and drink it, and you know, and be okay with that purchase. And it's funny because he was like kind of irritated with the little girl, which again, I get it. She was kind of doing the most when she was saying all these fees were with it. But again, like I would just argue, would he do that same thing with everything else that he would, you know, purchase or wanted to purchase? I don't know. I just think about it like that. Anyways, second business, jewelry and designing. So in other words, this is kind of like a crafty business. So with jewelry designing, it allows the kid to be able to have the utility to create different things. So it's kind of dual purpose. So your startup costs are going to be low. Once again, your startup costs are maybe some beads or some glue or pieces of thread or, you know, things like that. And then you know, it allows like the child and the parent to be able to interact, so they could be building things together. So again, the parent could have put in for the cost of beads or for the cost of the yarn or whatever it is, or the string that they were using to put the bracelets that they made on, if it was bracelets or if it was a necklace or, you know, whatever it was. And then they can sell those things. So that creativity that you're losing from being in the education system, you're getting back by creating a product that other people may potentially like. So you get the opinion of if you're a child doing this, you get the opinion of your parents, and your parents are looking at it and they're saying, oh, this is nice, or oh, like I like how you did this, or oh, this coordinates well, and I think people would like to buy it. And then you go and then you sell these pieces of jewelry to, you know, other people. So then you have like, you know, I guess like profits from what you sell. So then you can do the same thing, make a spreadsheet, and then on the spreadsheet you can put your losses as beads and then yarn and things like that. And then as far as the things that you actually made money off of, you can tally how much money that you made. So again, you can kind of do the same thing that you did with the lemonade stand. Third business, pet sitting. Now this is a really cool one because this allows kids a lot of kids love animals. Like, it's hard for me to even think right now of a kid who does not like animals. But like it allows you to, you know, be able to, or a kid for them to like work with animals. It allows them to be able to build rapport with the owners of these animals. If they're doing a business where they're like pet sitting and then watching them while they may be out of town or while they may be at work or whatever the case is. And It also allows them to still do the same things, like generate income from practically no startup cost at all. Like their only cost at that point, I think, would be like to travel if they go to the person's place to pick up the animal. But if the a person, the owner of the animal is going to drop the pet off to the child, then there's no startup cost at all, really, besides maybe, I don't know, getting some water, which again is, there's no startup cost. I mean, if you can go and you can get water at a fountain, so I mean, really, there's nothing. I was trying to dig, but I can't find anything. There is no startup cost for that. And it also gives the child a chance to exercise if they go and they walk the dog, and it teaches them responsibility, like I said, and it teaches them to be able to interact with animals well, and teaches them to still be that business person who is going to profit. So again, there's going to be a lot of profit in that business, especially for a child. I think the biggest challenge at that point would be the responsibility aspect, which kids are still learning and they're still trying to grasp. So that's just something to think about for that. Just seeing what time it was here. Anyways, so the next business I'm going to talk about is babysitting. Now, babysitting is pretty much the same concept. Not really a startup cost there at all, but it teaches them responsibility, a lot of responsibility. Because I mean, a pet is one thing, a child is an even bigger monster. So I mean, like that's something that I would say is going to be even more challenging, I think, for a child. Although I will say, if that child does have like a sibling, like younger siblings, then it may not be so much of a challenge because of the fact that they're used to doing that for their parents. But anyways, let's say that they're doing that, they're babysitting other children from neighbors or whatever, and they're making profits from that. That's a great business, and that's a great way to have a business that has like a low startup cost. It has a zero startup cost, because really the only thing you may even pay for is traveling to someone's house, and then still making profits from that, and then you're taking those profits and you're banking them. So that's like a almost an all asset business, pretty much, just like the pet sitting. Really, the only thing I think you're investing, which it's a big thing, but compared to other businesses, it's not so big in this case, is time. That's really the only factor I feel that you are even investing at that point. So I think that's a really good one, and again, it helps you build a rapport with the people who have these kids who need to be watched, and it helps you establish leadership, and it allows you to be the responsible one in charge. So that's just something to kind of like think about as well too. So another business, and this is the fifth one that I came up with, is a greeting card designing business. So the reason why I think that this one is going to be very lucrative is because, again, it does the same thing as the jewelry design business. It'll teach kids creativity. It'll teach kids that same creativity that the school system was not allowing them to get and was trying to take out of them. And it allows kids to be able to build a pretty good clientele, because really, in actuality, they're going to be able to do well, because a lot of people who need greeting cards or want to send cards to family, they'll be able to go to kids who have this great imagination and really know how to bring a smile on people's faces, and they're going to be willing to buy from them as long as their product is very professional. And that's where parents come in. They can double check it. They can make sure that what they're doing is it makes sense, it looks good, and then show, and then like kind of like show them the ways in which they can kind of like appeal well to other people who want to buy into this product of theirs, which is the greeting cards. So again, it's good parent and child interaction, and them being able to kind of learn together. Low startup costs. Once again, the only cost you'll have maybe is printing, and then the cost of actually getting like cards or card stock. So that's pretty much I would say it out of everything. And maybe another big loss you'll take is having a printer. But I mean, like, again, if you already have one, if the child's parent already had one, it's really like nothing. So you can make like profits from that as well too as a kid, and then you'll do well because you'll get a lot of clientele who will want a card created by a kid. I mean, like that's just adorable. Like, who wouldn't want a card created by a kid, and they put something really nice and sweet and really brighten up somebody's day? Like, anybody will want to buy that. So that's another good business. The last one, and this is the last one, but not least, of course, is snow and leaf removal. Now, mind you, if you're and I don't want to be ignorant when I say this, if you're in any of those hot states, I'm pretty sure you probably won't get a lot of this business for your kids. So you can pretty much cut this like out right now. So if you're probably in a Texas or even like a Tennessee or anywhere in the South or anywhere where it gets really hot, this probably won't do you any justice. But I mean, at least for like Midwesterners, and then some of the people in the mountain areas, and some of the people on the East Coast, and some of the West Coast people, and then even a little bit of the South, like that South border where Virginia and all that is at, you all probably can listen to this because this will probably apply to you, or at least like the leaf for sure, the leaf removal part sure will, and the snow removal part will as well too. So I think that this is a good business because it does a lot of different things here. First of all, there's a low startup cost. The only cost that you really have is, of course, like I said before, time, which you're going to have in any business and anything that you do. And then the other cost is going to be your tools. So your rake or your shovel at this point, because you have a snow removal business, or you have a leaf removal business. So at that point, that's like kind of like landscaping. So you could be doing this for everybody in your neighborhood. Like, let's say you had a bad snowstorm, and then like you're clearing out you clear out neighborhoods like snows, like in front of people's driveways and people's sidewalks and things like that, and then you get paid for those things. That's like good business right there, and that's stuff that is going to help you get good exercise, and that's going to be a business that's going to help you again, like learn how to put a lot of work in, and then get a lot of pay out from like all of your efforts, because it does take quite a bit of work if there's a lot of snow, especially like if you're in Michigan like I am. You get a lot of snow during the winter seasons, and so there's a lot of work to be done. So if kids are able to do that, they should be paid pretty well for that. So again, that's a business because they're doing a service for people. Except the difference is they're owning that business. They're not relying on being paid by someone else because they're doing it like for somebody else's business. They're doing it for themselves. So that's a good business for them to start, or raking leaves and getting them off of the grass, and things like that during the fall season. That's like another good business. So again, those both can be very lucrative. They both help the child get exercise. They both can they don't have like big startup costs, and then they teach responsibility too, because you have to be able to be timely, and you have to be able to be efficient, and things like that, and make sure that you clear up everything, you get all the spots out that need to be taken care of. So anyways, I hope that was kind of like a good synopsis for why I felt like kids should have their own business, and why kids should be taught business aspects, because at the end of the day, I think as a parent, it's your responsibility to be able to instill this in these kids early on, so that they can grow and they can do great things for the world and make this world a better place. Remember, it's all about it's not really about competition as much as it is about everybody trying to get to their goal, but still in a way make the world a better place. And that's what I'm all about for business, making the world a better place. So basically, supporting each other in what they do, instead of competing with each other and trying to knock everybody off the top. Because truth be told, not everybody's a good business owner. So at the end of the day, the more the merrier. If there's a lot of good people who are good at the same thing, they should be supporting each other and supporting their business more than they should be trying to knock each other down. And I think that starting kids off like that can help them to kind of make even their own principles that are going to one day make the world better and influence it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you guys like what you heard today, then feel free to subscribe at The Hustler's Perspective, because there will be a lot more to come. If you guys want to check my page out on Facebook, you can go to the Hustler's Perspective on there, type it in, and you can like that page and follow all the details that are going to be coming out for it. If you like to follow my blog or subscribe to my blog, you can follow me at thehustlersjackpot.com. So under hustlersjackpot.com, of course. And then if you want to follow my Facebook page, you can search me at The Hustlers Jackpot. If you want to follow me on Instagram, then you can find me at The Hustlers Jackpot, which is going to be my business page. And if you would like to find me at my personal page, you can go to at Cool Colas. Again, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video that was done for you, and I hope you guys are going to tune in to see more and all that I have to say, and my opinions and facts as well too. Anyways, see you guys later. Keep hustling.